Heto ang Oragon Internet Television. Maaasahan sa Balance News in Public Affairs, Education, Music and Information gamit ang makabagong teknolohiya sa pamamahayag. Maaasahan sa katotohanan, kaagapay ng mamamayan sa pagkikipag-ugnayan sa pamahalaan. Oragon Internet Television Broadcasting.
Magandang umaga po mga kaibigan. Welcome to Lido. Today, we talk about important issues closest not only to the heart, but to the stomach as well. Magandang umaga po. Pag-uusapan natin ang nagaganap sa ating pamilihan. Meron bang Pork Holiday Statistics Authority at ng Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas na nakita ito ang paggalaw sa merkado sa nakalipas po naman na inflation report. Sinabi po na mayroon din po namang epekto ito sa kinikita ng ating mga kababayan sapagkat kahit anong sabihin natin ay meron din po namang malaking bahagi ng kinikita ng mga Pilipino na nauwi sa pagkain. Kung di ako nagkakamali, nabanggit noon ng National Statistics Office na halos 50% ng sahod ng manggagawang Pilipino ang natutungo sa pagkain. Ganun pa rin ba ang sitwasyon ngayon? So today, we're joined by Assistant Secretary Noel O. Reyes, taga ng Department of Agriculture. Narito rin po naman si Dr. Raildrin G. Morales. Siya po ang Director ng Bureau of Animal Industry. Kasama natin si Attorney Victorio Mario D. Magiba, ang Chairman ng Laban Consumer Incorporated. May laban pa ba ang consumer ngayon sa nagaganap? Narito na rin po naman si Ginoong Jess Cham, Pangulo ng Meat Importers and Traders Association. At inaasahan na rin nating makakasama si Engineer Rosendo So, ang Pangulo ng Samahang Industriya ng Agrikultura. So, let's begin. Let's have the situationer from our good friend, Assistant Secretary Noel Reyes. Assistant Secretary, good morning and welcome. Please give us the situationer.
Yeah, maraming salamat, Melo. Ito na naman tayo sa roundtable. Namimiss ko na yung physical
Mindanao.
Yes, Cham, Doc Reldrin, James, at si Baba, si Yusek.
Si Attorney D. Magiba. Oo, please with us. Si Vic.
Okay, Vic, again, maraming salamat po. Ito pong unang-una, may kakulangan, may kakulangan tayo ng supply ng baboy. Kaya tumaas ang presyo. Admittedly, dahil sa ASF, matagal na po yan na nalasa nung umupo si Secretary William Dar noong August 2019, andyan na po yung ASF. Okay? Again, malaking dago po yan sa ating hog population. Bumaba ng as per PSA, 15%. Ang sa amin po ay ang nakal because of ASF, nakal, ibig sabihin namatay, 450,000 plus. May official data tayo dyan, nakasubmit sa OIE. But then again, the industry said na almost 5 million na nawala dahil syempre, hindi na sila nag-alaga for fear na magkakaroon ng ASF, magkakasakitan, mamatay. So yan po ang situation. Before the holiday season last year, ang presyo ay naglalaro sa 270 to 300. Yan po, okay naman po yan. Pero nung Pasko na, umakyat na ng 400 at nanatili doon. Etong January, February. Kaya naman, the DA, we recommended, Secretary recommended na hindi na dapat naiwan sa taas yung presyo, yung demand bumaba. And yet, may 400 pa rin. Ang laki ng kita ng somebody somewhere in the food supply chain is making a lot of money. So again, kaya nirecommend ulit, based doon sa previous price range na 270 at 300, yan ang nirekomenda ng DA to the President, which the President favorably approved. So ayan po nga, nandun tayo ngayon. And then, siyempre, meron tayong sa ibang industriya, ito, nag-declare ng pork holiday. For our part, ano pa rin po kami, positive. So, si Secretary bumaba sa mga hog raisers, nakiusap sa malalaking grazers dito sa Batangas, Mindoro, Cebu, Sargent, at Bukidnon na magpadala ng surplus, surplus production. Hindi po ito kakulangan, pero surplus nila na papuntang Metro Manila. And that we are seeing right now. So, bumababa na. Noong Monday, syempre, birth pains, Melo, merong talagang hindi nagbenta dahil wala naman talagang pagkukunan. So ito, yan po ang solusyon. And of course, yung imports po, we are allowed to import every year naman ng minimum access volume of 54,000 metric tons with 30% tariff. And beyond 54,000, 40% tariff. So tuloy-tuloy naman po yan na importation. So we are also recommending that this should be increased to 400,000 metric tons. So nasa tariff commission na po yung issue na yon. Why so? Kasi po mismo kami, nakita namin ang pagkukulang for the entire year is 400,000 metric tons of pork. Ang industry nga, tinaya nila, sabi nila, 500,000. So again, nandun lang po tayo sa 400,000 level. So andun ngayon sa ang bola nasa tariff commission for them to consider our recommendation. So yan po ngayon ang taya ng ating estado, ngayon ng ating pork supply and price situation.
Okay. Masakit mang aminin, pero nung kabataan ko at nasa radyo pa ako, pag naglalabas kami ng presyo sa radyo, may tumatawag, pwede ho kaming bumili dyan dahil iba yung presyo ninyo sa presyo mula sa palengke. How different is this today? Yung bang presyo sa, let's say, Nepac Mart, iba sa presyo sa ganitong wet market. Have you monitored this?
Yes. Nung Lunes talaga wala. Yung iba mataas pa rin. Pero ngayon, we're seeing the price range. In fact, mas mura nga sa supermarkets eh. Sa Hypermart, galing kami doon sa Shaw Boulevard kahapon. Ang price range is 265 for pigi and kasim and 295 for liempo. So within our 270-300 range. And sa chicken, yung 160 sa Magnolia and then 140 yung bonus. So again, pasok. So sa supermarket, sa Commonwealth, nakita na natin doon within price range. At ngayon, dumating na yung mga baboy mula Jensan, Mindoro, Batangas. Yan po, may konti nang binibenta dyan sa mga Metro Manila public markets.
Okay. Let me ask the good Bureau of Animal Industry Director, Dr. Raylrin Morales, how serious is the situation today na parang hindi pa tayo magkaroon ng confidence na bumalik sa industriya yung mga nagbababoy? Bakit po kaya? Gaano ba kalala o katindi ang problemang dulot ng ASF? Dr. Morales, please.
Good morning po, Sir Melo, at sa mga kasamahan po natin, kila ASEC at saka sa mga kasama sa programang ito ngayong umaga. Ano po, sina Sir Jess Cham and sila Kasen Dongso at sa mga taga-media. Sir, just to give you an idea po kung gaano kalala yung problema natin, ang African Swine Fever po o ASF, ito po kasi ay walang gamot at walang bakuna at ang virus po na ito ay napaka-resilient, so napakahirap niyang patayin. So nagsusurvive po siya sa environment for a long time. Actually sa Europa, yun pong wild boar na namatay na, namatay na. So nalusaw na yung laman, yung buto, kinuha, nakakuha pa po ng traces ng virus doon sa wild boar. So this is the disease that actually took Spain 30 years to control and eradicate. And actually ito pong virus na to, it transformed the swine production environment in most of the countries like Spain. Sa Spain po, halos naubos yung kanilang backyard dahil kailangan kasi yung biosecurity, and to be able to actually observe biosecurity, kailangan talaga halos andun yung facility or structure that will support biosecurity na mostly sa commercial farms lang natin nakikita. The same is true with Russia. So ito po yung nilalabanan natin na virus ngayon, at ang ginagamit nga po sana natin, maganda nga sana na archipelagic yung ating bansa, na meron tayong natural barriers. But even then, sir, ang sinasabi ko nga po, we are monitoring, and we can actually monitor yung movement ng mga live hogs, marami. Kaya lang, sir, hindi na natin monitor or mahirapan tayong i-monitor yung 1 kilong longganisa na infected, that use infected or tainted meat, nadadalhin from one area to another. So sir, ito po yung immensity ng ating problema. Yung threat po ng spread ng ASF through the infected animals na maramihan i-move is as potent po, or mas potent pa nga po yung 1 kilong longganisa na dala sa bagahe from one area to another, pasalubong. So ganun po, 1 kilong longganisa lang or even kalahating kilong tosino siguro na will find its way into swill ay magiging problema na natin. So wala po tayong bakuna, at sa experience po, maging ng ating mga magsasaka dito, once na tinamaan yung farm mo, it's just a matter of time. Para yung time lang po, hindi na question yung mauubos yung baboy mo. Ang usapan na lang po is gaano katagal mo mapipigil para maubos yung baboy, ma-contain yung spread. It's just a matter of time. So sir, ito po yung ating pinaghahandaan. And admittedly, yun pong infrastructure, yung infrastructure po natin ay hindi nakagayak para po ito ay harapin. Dahil yung diagnostic facilities po natin na sa ngayon po, iginagayak talaga natin, inihahabol with the threat of ASF, pati po doon sa free areas.
Okay, pero can you give us basic information as to the kind of volume that we produced before ASF and the increase in demand? Because in a briefing yesterday at Malacanang, the good Secretary Willie Dar said magkakaroon ng shortfall by about 400,000 metric tons this year because the production is 1.2 million metric tons compared to the demand of 1.6 million metric tons. Ano po bang naging impact nito dahil sa yung mga backyard natin, backyard hog raisers, natakot na rin bumalik sa hanap buhay na ito? Dr. Morales, please.
Yes, sir. Tama po ang binanggit ni Secretary Dar, kasi po ang computation po na ginagamit natin dyan, naka-benchmark po tayo doon sa per capita consumption of 15 kilo per capita. That is, every Filipino consumes about 15 kilos so times the population. So that's how we compute it, sir. Ngayon po, ang nagiging problema po natin, our backyard production produce or accounts for about 65% of the total production. At karamihan po dyan, almost 50% of the total production po ng baboy ay nandito sa Luzon halos, And that in Luzon, that is mostly concentrated in regions 3 and 4A. So andyan po yung bulk. At ito pong dalawang region na to ay badly hit, Yun pong mga katabing mga probinsya naman like Tarlac, Pampanga, equally malaki din po ang populasyon niyan, lalo na sa commercial. At tinamaan din po ng sagad ang Tarlac and Pampanga. Ang Nueva Ecija, ang Region 2 ay mostly backyard at tinamaan. So kaya sir, ang tinitignan nga natin, yung binanggit po ni Secretary Dar, we're projecting deficit of about 400,000 metric tons dahil nga po dun sa contraction ng population. Kasi po yung backyard, marami na po ang hindi nag-alaga dahil tinamaan, nakal, yung iba naman natakot. And even the commercial po ay hindi rin nag-control din sila ng kanilang population. So ito po yung kinakaharap natin na problema ngayon. All this, according to PSA, sir, no, nagkaroon tayo ng contraction of about 15%. So the industry is putting forward another figure about double that. So ngayon po ang pinaka-baseline po natin before ASF, we have 12.7 million pigs, no, standing population natin. So with a contraction of 15%, tapos yung sabi ng industry is about 36%, yun po yung kakulangan natin sa lahat. So yan po yung hinaharap natin, Sir Melo. Yun naman pong tungkol sa magkaiba na data, ang PSA po at ang private sector are now working, no, yung government and the private sector are now working actually to do a census this first quarter po at may correct magkaroon ng harmonization ng data. So we will be using the same data.
Very good. Now let me ask Noel and Dr. Morales. I came across an article of a colleague, si Luis Maurin Simeon sa Philippine Star, that the DA will provide 27 billion pesos in loans to help hog raisers. Gentlemen, what took you so long?
Melo, we think ito yung problemang ito ay again nag-respond kagad tama-tama. I was there. May land bank board meeting and the secretary sits as the board of directors and he proposed na mag-alat ng pondo. Mismo si Cecil Borromeo, the president, said na, Mr. Secretary, we can allot 15 billion for the commercial races for the repop program. And then the following week, we coordinated with the money of DBP, the president, at siya naman ay nag-alat din ng 12 billion. So hindi galing sa DA yan, 27 billion from Land Bank and DBP. So why hindi, meron naman silang dating window for the agriculture sector, Melo. Pero ito specifically for the hog industry. Okay? So yan po, special window. Pero dati na silang merong windows for agri-fishery enterprises.
DBP and?
Land Bank.
Land Bank, okay. Sana natanong din natin yung Land Bank. Yung mga pinautang nyo, alin ang mas marami? Related ba sa agriculture o blue chips? Blue chip company.
That will be your next topic. That will be your next topic. Agricultural financing. That will be great.
Yeah, precisely. That is what we need. Let me check with Attorney Vic Di Magiba. Vic, good morning. I'm looking for you. Saan napunta si Vic?
Taglit lang. Okay.
Ayan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Looking for you. Ayun. Okay, pakibukas ng video.
Yeah, I will. All right.
Okay.
Unang-una, belated happy birthday. Sa
Thank you. Thank you.
Really, mga kasama sa Roundtable, birthday Melo nung kailan ba? Monday?
No Monday, oo. Ka-birthday ko yung dating presidente ng Pilipinas. Oo. Anyway, let me ask, anong laban ng consumer ngayon? May laban pa ba?
Hindi, meron muna akong dalawang tanong dun sa nakausap mo ng mga resource person. Una, si COVID-19, ang dami ng vaccine, wala pong 1 year. Si ASF ba may vaccine na rin? Kasi
wala pa nga.
Importante yan sa... Hindi, why? Gusto ko malaman bakit, no? Pangalawa, may binanggit na 400,000 na i-import na pork. Ang gusto ko lang malaman doon, meron yatang tariff distinction, no? Pakiulit lang. Secondly, pag imported pork ba are they coming in the way consumer understand them? Meaning, are they coming in as lempo? Are they coming in as kasim, pige, at ano pa? No? Kasi yun yung naiintindihan ng consumer. And how do you label them? Or if I'm consumer ako, paano ko malaman kung imported o local? Now, this is now my question. Kahapon lumabas, meron palang class A, class B na karne. Ano ba yan? I mean, kasi we've been buying class B for higher prices for so long. Hindi man nanganganak yung problema ng presyo. I guess not really the price, the problem of high prices are now transforming into some other consumer issues like quality of the pork that we are buying. Meron palang class B, lantaran, sinasabi ng mga vendors na bumalik, kaya po namin magbenta sa price ceiling, pero class B lang po to. Ibig sabihin ng class B.
Teka muna, teka. Vic, yung bang class B, ibig sabihin ng botcha?
Hindi siya botcha. It's class B, sabi, matataba daw. Ang intindi ko, maraming taba sa meat. I mean, maybe pakipaliwanag ni BAI Director, Dr. ba? I forgot.
Dr. Morales.
Yeah. Yun na muna, no? Mga, I just wanted na may continuity yung issue ng importation, yung taripa, at saka, bakit wala pang vaccine? Si COVID nga eh. Wala pang 1 year, ang dami ng vaccine.
Okay, sige. Doc, this is your field.
Thank you po for the question. Sir, yun pong ASF ay medyo kakaiba po yung virus na to, no? Very peculiar. Technically po, yung kanyang structure ay resilient siya and it easily adapts doon sa virus po kasi ay hindi po siya living organism like bacteria. Virus is a protein, ano? And it multiplies in host cell. So doon sa technical aspect po niya, ang hirap po niyang kontrolin. Kaya po ngayon, yung mga nagtatry na mag-manufacture ng vaccine is actually going for the genetics. May mga dinidelete lang sila mga genes, and yun yung tinatry nila na i-control. Ang Spain po, Spain has a laboratory, a world-class laboratory on diagnosis and vaccine production, and hindi pa rin po sila nakaproduce ng vaccine hanggang sa ngayon. In the more than 50 years po na meron ng ASF at nananalasa ang ASF sa ibang parte ng mundo, hindi pa po nakaka-develop ng vaccine, even yung advanced countries like US and UK. Napaka-peculiar po at very sturdy yung pong ASF virus. Yun po yung dahilan kung bakit po hindi tayo makadevelop ng vaccine. Kung maririnig niyo po, may balita sa China, may mga dinilit po sila na genes, no, doon sa bakuna, and they tried to manufacture a vaccine. Nag-backfire po siya eh. Naglabas siya, out of that experiment, there came out 2 strains, no po, na parang mutation siya doon sa original strain dahil doon sa ginawa nung China na yon. That's what we get from some of the reports. So, yun po ang dahilan. Wala po siyang vaccine dahil mahirap po siyang i-manipulate yung ASF virus. I would not say na comparable naman po siya sa COVID kasi yung COVID talaga tao yung tinatamaan kaya talagang lahat ay gumalaw with utmost urgency. Now sir, yun pong sa tungkol naman po doon sa importation ng karne, meron po tayong tinatawag na yung pong binanggit ni Asek Noel kanina. Ito po yung nasa MAV, ano, yung mga minimum allocated allotted na mga volume. Meron pong kapag ka po nandun tayo sa INMAB, ang taripa po niyan ay mas mababa ng konti, at yung outside MAB naman po, ang taripa naman po niyan ay mataas. So nasa 30% yung in quota po natin at nasa 40% naman po yung taripa ng out quota. So yan po yung pinag-uusapan sa Tariff Commission ngayon, yung paano i-adjust yung mga taripa ng mga karne na po. Doon po sa klase na sinasabog po ninyo, yung Class B, Ang karne po kasi na pumapasok, meron po tayong tinatawag na prime cuts. I think si Mr. Just Cham yung mas makakapag-discuss ito na maganda. Yun pong mga liempo, mga prime cuts po ito. Tapos meron naman po tayong ini-import na mas mababa yung taripa, which we considered like we classify as offal. Andiyan po yung mga jowls na po, yung mga taba sa lieg. So mas mababa naman po ang taripa niyan. Ngayon, yun pong mga karne na to, ito nga po yung nire-request ng mga importer. Hindi po natin inaalaw ito na ibenta, sir, sa palengke ng nakatiwangwang. The Department of Agriculture is requiring po yung magbebenta ng imported meat sa palengke, yung mga allowed na ibenta sa palengke, ay kailangan may freezer or may chiller para po yung karne ay hindi magto. Kasi po pag nagto siya o yung nalusaw siya from the frozen state, hindi po siya advisable na i-freeze ulit. Dapat pag nagto, iluluto na siya. So yun po yung isa sa mga concern or mga nire-request nga po ng mga importer na hold in abeyance muna ni DA. So sir, with that, I think si Mr. Jess Chan po siguro yung makakapag-discuss doon sa mga klase ng karne na ini-import nila.
Okay.
Bago mo bitawan Melo si Dr. Director, hindi niya sinagot yung binibentang Class B sa palengke kahapon ng mga vendors na bumalik. Ano ba yung Class B? Local, Class B.
Okay.
Hindi ko po alam, hindi ko po masasabi na Class B ang local, sir. Kasi po ang karne po, may iba-iba po siyang cuts. So meron po tayo yung kasim, meron po tayong liempo, tapos meron po dyan, di po ba yung ang naalala ko nung araw po, pag namimili yung nanay ko, sasabihin niya kapag pansahog, sasabihin niya yung ordinary lang, yung may kasamang taba, yung ganun. Tapos meron din po yung buto-buto. Yun po di ba? Yun yung pero hindi ko po, sir, alam yung Class A at saka Class B with regards dun sa karne. Yun po yung pa natin, attorney. I'm not privy to that kind of classification po ng karne. What I know is may iba-ibang cuts. Andyan po yung kasim, yung pige, yung liempo, andyan po yung ordinary, yung buto-buto, andyan po yung mga ribs. Yun po ang alam ko. Kaya nga po doon sa ibang cuts naman, doon sa imported, mas mababa po ang taripa nitong mga to, yung mga jowls, yung mga taba, yun pong ginagamit sa sisig, yung galing sa mukha. Yun po, attorney.
All right, sige. Let's leave it at that. Pero Vic, you will agree with me, meron pa rin isang klase ng karne na karaniwang nilalagay sa cellophane na umiikot sa palengke. Ang classification nun para kay kabo. Okay? Right? Naalala mo yan. Para kay kabo. O sige. Jess, mula sa panig ng mga importers, mukhang masaya kayo at mag-i-import kayo. Ganun ba kayo kasaya?
Well, hindi naman itong ang pananaw po namin is that kahit masigla ang isang sektor, hindi dapat at the expense of other sectors. Kumbaga, ang buong bansa, ang buong ekonomiya, kinakailangan na mag-prosper together kasi hindi pwede isang sector na hindi pwede unbalanced growth. Kasi kapag ang growth ay hindi balansyado, hindi magiging sustainable. Okay? So ngayon, itong panahon na medyo may pandemya, may crisis, kami po mismo, my association, nagmungkahi kay DA at saka sa DTI na bantayan po natin ang food value chain, ang value chain ng imported pork para maiwasan ang hoarding, profiteering at ang tamang presyo ay makakarating sa consumer na sila makinabang. So yun po ang isang initiative po ng association namin. Ngayon, kanina po ang tanong ni Attorney Vic kung may Class A, Class B na pork, I think this has to do with the carcass quality. Ngayon, ang carcass quality naman has to do with the way the pig is raised, anong pinakain, ganong pag-alaga, etc. etc. So, marami pong kapag ang baboy matured, ano, kumbaga hindi nung kinatay ay hindi sa tamang timbang, sa tamang maturity, syempre ibang klaseng karne, ibang klaseng laman, ibang klaseng taba. Ngayon kapag ang baboy naman hindi pinakain ng maganda, talagang mas maraming taba. So these are the so ito sa ang pagkaintindi ko po sa etong negosyo ng mga ng baboy, ang biyahero pupunta sa mga pig farm, tinitingnan yung mga baboy at binibili ang baboy. Alam mo, matagal ko na kami nagsasabi na dapat ang mga lahat ng mga farm meron sila timbangan kasi minsan wala sila timbangan. Ang biyahero tatawarin lang niya yun itong baboy ito bayaran kita 5,000 nito, 10,000 nito. Kahit hindi nila malalaman kung how much per kilo So I don't know whether that is still the case. Pero yun nga po ang So ang saka isa pa ang negosyo, the business model ng mga baboy is that they want to sell live. Gusto nila magtinda ng buhay. Ngayon, ang problema dito, if they sell live, kinakailangan kasi ang merkado ayaw ng merkado na masyadong mataba. Kaya para garantisado na hindi mataba, they will sell at a very lightweight. Kasi walang taba. Kasi if they feed them to 100 kilos, 120 kilos, baka kapag hindi maganda ang ration, mga pagkain, tataba siya ng sobra. So the industry benta na nila kasi sigurado sila na manipis ang taba. So ang industriya hindi progress sa pagtinda ng karkas ng sabit-ulo. Kasi pag nagtinda sila ng karkas, kinatay nila ang karkas, makikita nila, maganda ang laman nito, maganda ang proportion, meat to bone, meat to fat ratio, magaganda. Itong baboy can command a premium. I can pay more. Kasi pagdating sa lamesa, pagdating sa tindera, mas maraming laman, mas malaki ang yield. So we have not gone beyond that for the backyard. Some of the commercial, some of them do that, but I don't think a lot of them do that. And lalo sa ganitong panahon na kulang ang baboy, maganda ang presyo, madaling i-bet with all these other intricacies. So yun lang. So that's one of the comments that we have been making ever since noon panahon pa ni Sito Lorenzo in 2004 nung na-collaborate kami sa mga hog farmers. We said their business model has to change. They are still using a business model that comes from after World War II, selling live cows. Yun ang gusto nila mangyari. So they're not moving forward. The farming technology has improved. Okay, they know how to grow, they know how to feed, they know how to take care of the pigs, but the way they market their product has to be improved.
Okay, but let me ask you, Jess, over the years that you're in the business, anong comparison nung uri ng karne na ini-import ninyo sa locally produced?
I'm not sure about your question. So ganito okay. Ever since nag-umpisang importasyon hanggang ngayon, now that was 1996 hanggang ngayon, so we are now like 25 years. Okay. Now, for that 25 years, ang imported na baboy has never captured a market share of more than 20%. Okay? The market share ng local is always 80% and more. Imported market share has always been less than 20%. So, ito pong sinasabi ng mga hog raisers na there's over-importation, if you look at the facts, is absolutely untrue. Okay. Ngayon, the local industry, as I said, they are selling live animals are transformed into carcasses, kung mga sabit ulo, And then from the sabit ulo, they are transformed into choice cuts and mga byproducts. So mga pangsahu, panglaga, whatever, buto-buto, so these are the byproducts. Ngayon, ang business model ng ibang bansa, let's say for example is, let's talk about Europe. So sa Europa, ang karamihan ng karne na kinakain nila is not only yun fresh, but may mga process. So sa Germany, maraming sausages, mga Wiener, mga schnitzel, okay? Sa Spain, Italy, maraming hamon, yung hamon serrano, yung prosciutto. Sa North America naman, mahilig sila sa mga bacon. So, okay, so lahat ng liempo napupunta sa bacon. Halos wala silang binebenta, ine-export ng liempo. So, every country has its own culinary preferences.
Okay.
At dahil because of that culinary preference, yung parte ng baboy na yan ay mas mahalaga. So, sa Spain, sa Espanya, sa Italia, gusto nila hamon. So, ang hamon nila is mahalaga. Now, ang gusto nila maraming hamon, ang demand na pupuntang sa hamon, ano natitira? Liempo. So, liempo naging mas mura and may excess. So, yun ang ine-export nila. Ngayon, sa North America naman, gusto nila mga liempo dahil sa mga bacon. So, they take all the liempo and they even import the liempo to make into bacon.
Okay.
Okay? But they are exporting mga kasim and pigi. Okay, and then they also develop their processing industry. So, meron na sila mga hotdog. So, yung mga trimming nila, they can use the trimming, they can use the fat, they can use the skin, etc., etc. So, they develop other products out of the different they develop new items out of the different available raw material.
Okay.
So what are we importing? So we look for the leftover products that they are not using in each country that they are not using, and if the price is right, we bring it in and we sell it here. If the price is not right, we don't bring it in. So sometimes meron nagtanong sa akin, bakit ang mga presyo mo ay ganito? Ang sabi ko sa kanila, sagot ko ay very simple. Kapag mahal at hindi abot kaya, hindi ko bibilhin. We only bring in what is affordable.
Okay.
That's a simple.
Breakfast, bacon yung medyo middle class, tocino, bagay medyo may pera yung karaniwang tao tulad ko. Nagbago ba yung panlasa ng Pilipino over the years?
Well, I think the prime mover is not the panlasa, the taste, the preference. The prime mover is the affordability.
Okay.
Because 85% of our population belongs to the CDE. Now, the CDE cannot afford to pay kahit nung 200 kilos ng baboy, hindi na nila kaya. And what more now, 400. So kaya ang nangyari is that, so you see the growth of the importation of the amount of meat is less than what you buy in real meat, so it is more affordable. So, unfortunately, for me personally, my personal opinion, it is still preferable to eat the natural meat rather than to eat processed meat. Processed meat every now and then, sige, para makatikim may panibagong lasa, but it is still healthier to consume natural product. A natural animal product.
Okay. Very good. Very well. Attorney Vic, Nasaan na po kayo?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ayan, all right. Just looking for you. Ano ba yung karaniwang binibili ng Pilipino pag nagpupunta sa palengke? May 500 piso. Ano yung karaniwang binibili nila?
Kung ikaw yung 30% household, yung
Teka, asan ka? Nawawala yung...
ikaw yung consumer ka, nandun ka sa 30% na household, yun yung statistics ng PSA, yun yung mga ang binibili mo mostly are vegetable and fish. Of course, rice, kailangan mo. No? I think yung karne at saka yung manok, ano na sa kanila yan. Sabi nga ni Jess Champ kanina sa kanya as a negosyante, ang issue talaga is affordability. No? Maybe bibili siya, pero siguro 1/4 kilo, mga ganun lang. Hindi siya makakabili ng 1 kilo. No? So, I guess but when you go higher on the strata, yung tinatawag na mga class A, class B, class C, ay yan ang mga pork eater, no? Whether natural or processed, no? Mga mahalin pa ang bibili niyan. Hindi lang yung homemade, kumbaga, no? So, I think that spending pattern continues to be true, no? Kaya lang, nung January, nung lumabas yung inflation report, sabi ng PSA, ang malaking porsyento ng pagtaas ng inflation came from the high price of meat, particularly pork, no? Halos 17% ang itinaas ng inflation ng karne. Now, whether the bottom 30% ng pork prices to the bottom 30% of the household was 17% yung pork, ang income was 4.9%. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the input. We'd like to acknowledge may mga nanonood sa atin from Saudi Arabia at mula sa Estados Unidos at sa iba't ibang bahagi ng Pilipinas. Thank you for joining us. At teka, nasan ba yung ating kasama si Noel? Noel, may tanong lang yung ating kasama, si Melissa. Can you still accommodate the questions before you go for another interview? Teka, palagay ko may interview na si spokesperson. Melissa, wait ka lang ha. Wait ka lang. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Pagbalik niya na lang.
Babalik yun. Dr. Morales, over the years, anong mga rehiyon ang pinagmumulan ng ating production sa baboy? Siguro pwede mo rin kami mabigyan tungkol sa baka at sa kalabaw because whether we like it or not, tell us ano yung statistics natin so far over the years. Yes, Doc?
Yes, sir. Ang high producing areas po natin with regards sa pork ay number 1 po dyan ang Region 3, Central Luzon. Kasunod po dyan ang Region 4A. Tapos andyan din po ang Region 6 sa Visayas. Andyan din po ang Region 11 at saka ang Region 12. Ngayon po, ito po yung high dense areas natin. In some respect, andyan po ang Region 7. Ang production po, sir, natin ng baboy ay actually distributed siya dahil backyard siya, yung kanyang mas malaking holdings ay nasa smallhold farmers. Pagmula po sa northern part of Luzon, then sa Region 2, Region 1, hanggang doon po sa atin sa ibaba, hanggang Caraga, hanggang sa Region 12, meron po tayong production ng backyard. But yung mga nabanggit ko po na mga regions, yun po yung talagang high dense areas when it comes to production of hogs. Yun po, yung sir, baka natin, ano po, medyo manipis po ang ating populasyon ng baka. Na 2 million lang po yan eh. 2 to 3 million lang po ang population natin ng baka. At yan po kasi, ang kwan po kasi natin dito sa Pilipinas, andun pa rin po tayo sa traditional mode of raising cattle, which is yung pasture. Ano po? Alam naman po natin, as the population exponentially increase, nagkakaroon po ng decrease naman yung pasture area natin. So nagko-convert po yan either for housing, or nako-convert naman yung iba doon po sa pagtataniman ng crops. So lumiliit po. Usually po kasi by the book, 1 hectare per head ang kailangan mong ilat. If you have 1 head of cattle, dapat may 1 hectare ka ng pasture. Ganon. Unlike in other countries, sir, na medyo intensive yung kanilang farming ng cattle. So dito po sa atin, nagawa niyan, and mostly po yan ay nandito sa Southern Tagalog, at saka po diyan sa bandang Region 5 sa Masbate, no? So andyan po yung ating mga production ng cattle, and in Mindanao. Yes, sir.
Yung Carabao natin. Yung Carabao po natin.
Ang Carabao, sir, natin, ang population natin ng Carabao ay ganun din po. Hindi rin po siya aabot ng 4 na milyon yung kalabaw natin, yung standing population natin. I will have to check my figure, sir, but last if I remember right, hindi po aabot ng 4 million or just around in that neighborhood ang population po ng ating kalabaw, sir.
Okay. Kaya kasi mahalaga ito sapagkat ang karne ang pinagmumulan din ng protina. Kung hindi na kaya, we will shift to vegetables, we will shift to other sources of protein. Kaya lang kung mataas din ang presyo, babalik tayo sa issue of affordability. I don't know whether yung kakayahan ng consumer nagbago because of COVID-19. That's another issue. Pero we'd like to open the floor to our colleagues from the media who may have questions sa ating mga panauhin. Please be prepared. Let me know so I can allow you in and shoot the questions. Pakisabi lang kung kanino. Wala pa si Assistant Secretary Noel Reyes. Kaya ilimit muna natin kina Dr. Morales, kay Jess at kay Attorney Vic Di Magiba. I'm waiting for a signal from Engineer Rosendo So. But anyway, sige, before we start with our colleagues from the media, Dr. Morales, yung brother-in-law ko used to raise hogs in Bicol. However, na-hostage siya nung patuloy na pagtaas ng feeds, ng commercial feeds. So sabi niya, hindi na viable. Na-hostage na ako eh. So, ito ba nakita ninyo, could this also be a reason why many backyard hog raisers just closed shop, Dr. Morales?
Bakit po caters to swill feeding, no? Yung nakita po natin yung practice ng backyard na nagpapakain ng feeds and then nagpapakain ng swill na intermix po, no? Naka-mix yung kanilang diet dahil nga po mataas yung cost ng feeds. Alam naman po natin ito at ginagawa po ng paraan ng Department of Agriculture, particularly yun po sa area ng corn. Ano po, meron pong corn program that look after the concerns on corn, no po, na tayo po ay magkaroon ng sufficient and yun po, affordable corn supply. Karamihan, sir, karamihan po kasi ng ginagamit na ingredients sa feed ay animal feeds. For that matter, ay ini-import natin kagaya po ng soya, nag-i-import po tayo niyan. Yun pong pagmahal po ang corn, nag-alternate tayo ng wheat, imported din po yan. Yun pong fish meal na hinahalo dyan, ay karamihan po dyan ay imported din po. So yun po yung isang reason but tumataas ito. And we're also working, sir, with the different with the feed milling sectors, ano po, yung mga commercial feed manufacturers, on how we can possibly support na po yung ating mga hog raisers by formulating a low-cost feed na hindi naman mababa yung kanyang quality. So yun po yung tinitignan natin and how we can work together with on that direction, sir. Kasi talaga pong admittedly, medyo isa po sa mga dahilan kung bakit mahal ang ating produkto rito, manok man o baboy, ay mataas po yung cost of inputs.
Okay. All right. Jess, sa grupo ba ninyo kasama yung mga food processors na nangangailangan din ng imported meat?
Sa grupo po namin, meron may ilan who are also processing, ano, pero association yung PAMPI.
Okay.
So they have their own, meron silang they have their own requirements, they have their own position on these issues.
Dahil isang worry kasi kung mag-i-import sila, mataas din yung taripa, kahit papano, apektado rin yung kanilang retail price ng kanilang mga produkto, right?
Yes, well actually, itong initiative ng DA na ibaba ang taripa sa baboy is long overdue, and it's a good sign because kapag if you notice ang mga processed meat ngayon, karamihan po is chicken based on chicken MDM. Now, kumbaga, although nagsasabi po tayo na okay, you diversify, pero you want to diversify your diet. So actually, to be healthy, a person should eat many kinds of proteins. You have to have fish, you have to have pork, you have to have chicken, you have to have beef. The more, the better for your health. So if we reduce the tariff on pork, then the processors can start formulating and making pork-based processed meat instead of focusing only on chicken MDM. But again, as I said, then you give the consumer a choice. Processed beef, or they want to buy natural pork, natural chicken, natural beef. At least they have the choice.
Okay. Magandang bagay na nabanggit mo. May tanong yung ating kasama, si Melissa. Melissa Lopez, good morning. Para kanino ang tanong mo?
Sir, just wanted to ask, DTI and DA said they're looking to also set a price ceiling on imported pork products. Likely daw mas mababa yan dun sa ceilings na sinet ng EO 124 on local fresh pork. Sir, ano yung comfortable na, magkano ngayon yung average price po ng frozen meat sa market, and magkano po kaya yung comfortable or acceptable for importers na price for the imported frozen meat? Thank you.
Well, as I said earlier, the market share of the local before the ASF was 80%, more than 80%, and market share of the imported meat was less than 20%. So, you have the tail of the pig, the tail will follow the pig, the tail. So the local market, the local producers, the product is the one who sets the price, and the imported market share will follow the local price because that is how a free market operates. Now, we had heard from the hog raisers actually. Well, okay, the hog raisers said imported product is being sold at the same level as local product. So they complain. They say, well, because of that, importers are making more money. But you may be shooting yourself in the foot, because if you ask the importers to sell cheaper, then you have more customers who will patronize the imported and not patronize the local. So that's that's another angle they have to look at. And also you have to look at the okay, now this is a bit more technical now, because when the Philippines entered the WTO, there was an agreement called a principle of national treatment. So it means that imported product, once it gets into the Philippines, has to be treated in the same way as the local production. And this is a principle all over the world, or everybody in WTO. So in this case, there might be a violation, but we're not going to make a big issue out of that. Now, putting a price on the imported pork, actually, as I said earlier, this was a suggestion that my association had proposed to the DTI and the Department of Agriculture. Okay, but we are not talking about a price control. Our proposal was we will try to monitor and manage the value chain so that the margins, the markups from the importer up to the retailer will be managed so that the consumer can benefit. And that and as much as possible, we will try to keep it within the target SRP of the 300 pesos per kilo for liempo and lower for the Kasim Pigi. So now, but previous to the, well, if they adopt our suggestion, then we will try to work something out. But then this cannot be a coercive method. It has to be voluntary. We will have to identify like-minded and sympathetic players who will help us do this market intention and try to bring the prices down. But at the moment, it is like the case of the local production ng pork before the price freeze. It was a free-for-all. Rambulan, eh? You don't, everybody will look for the best price. Now, the local producers, they have, the one problem from the business side is that how do I price my product? Well, how much is the market going to pay? Okay, how much are you going to pay? Are you a regular customer? Are you a one-time customer? Do I need to maintain a relationship with you? How much product is still in the pipeline? How can I sustain this price? So even, for example, the local producers, if they say they want to add a risk premium, and I said, yeah, it's understandable, although it's unaffordable to consumers, but it's understandable that the hog raisers want to add a risk premium because they do not see the sustainability probably. Okay, they see, okay, if I do this, I sell this off, there might be a next round because baka mataman ako ng ASF eh. Now, the importers will also think that way. Okay, ibaba niyo ang taripa ngayon. Pero, pag after 6 months, balik na sa dati. So, yung mga na-import ko, ba't ko ibebenta ng mura? Because in 6 months, the market is going to adjust upwards. So, yun po ang mga interplay and considerations that everybody, that the businessman keeps in mind. So kami nga sa MITA, we asked the Tariff Commission that we said to them that the proposal of TIA of 1 year is not enough, it's too short. It should be at least 5 years because the hog raisers themselves have said it will take them at least 5 years to recover. In spite of whatever they're saying, they have said, it's on record, it will take at least 5 years to recover. It took Spain 30 years to eradicate ASF after massive technical and financial support from the EU. In Italy, Sardinia, that island, I believe they still have ASF. They still have not eradicated ASF. So it's not an easy disease, as Dr. Morales had said. So we have to be realistic. Now, the consumers are in for hard times. If they reduce the tariff of pork to 5% to 5 and 10% and extend it for 5 years, we will be able to sustain that price. But if they don't do that, we will not be able to sustain and keep everything within SRP.
Okay. All right. Melissa, meron pa? May pahabol pa? Okay na. Good. For DA spokesperson, Assistant Secretary Noel Reyes, nasa na po kayo?
Andito na po, andito.
Yan, okay. May mga tanong kasi, katulad nun, yung mga baboy na mula raw sa Jensan, makakarating ba ng Antipolo? Kung di ako nagkakamali, mula yun doon sa ating kaibigang si... teka, sino ba yung mag-message?
Joy Catlea.
Yeah. Ano bang sitwasyon? What can you tell us, Noel?
Yes, we'll do that. Kasi ang priority ngayon, Metro Manila. Again, for the consumption, yung price ceiling applies to Metro Manila. Kaya yung muna, kasi doon ang mataas ang presyo. No? Pero kung sa Antipolo, we'll ask our regional director sa Vilma Maculangan to service yung galing ng Batangas, Mindoro, and to allot some hogs to Antipolo market. And even siguro yung mga supermarkets doon na merong imported pork, pwede naman doon ibagsak din.
Follow-up
Yes,
po sana. Ano po yung terms with hog raisers ng Jensan? Ilang baboy kaya ang kaya nilang i-augment papuntang Manila? And sagot ba ng DA yung transportation po nito?
Thank you, Joy. Yes, sabi nila, commitment nila, the whole Mindanao, no, can deliver 10,000 hogs weekly. 10,000, okay? From Jensan, South Cotabato, Bukidnon, and all. So, yan po. In fact, next week, kahapon may dumating na 3,000 heads. Next week, another 2,000 from Mindanao, South Cotabato alone. On Friday, we'll go to Bukidnon, Cagayan de Oro, para to get commitment from the racers there. And we'll fill up the slaughter rate dito sa Manila na 4,000 hogs. Yan po ang datos na ibinigay ni Dr. Morales, 4,000 hogs daily. So again, we'll try to fill that up. Yes, may transport support na binibigay ang DA sa mga hog raisers, traders pala, to send hogs they bought from Mindanao to Metro Manila at 21 pesos per kilo. Yan ang transport. Pag galing sa Visayas, 15 pesos. Yun po ang transport support. So, coordinate lang po sa aming regional offices, sa mga traders na mag-deliver. Dapat po sa Metro Manila po ang delivery, hindi sa labas ng Metro Manila. So, we're trying to solve first the supply situation here in Metro Manila. So, dapat po ang deliveries para sa Metro Manila lamang to avail of that transport support.
Thank you, sir. Pwede po last question po.
Sige. Go ahead.
Ang magkano po yung farm gate price and expected natin, magkano po ito mabibenta sa Metro Manila?
Ang farm gate price varies, no? Nasa 145 doon sa at wag lang lalampas ng 200. So ang presyo dapat ng sabit ulo na sa Metro Manila market ay dapat nasa 235 or 230. Para may spread pa rin yung retailer ng 40 to 60. $70 pesos per kilo. So again, dapat ang umabot doon sa palengke ay yung sabit ulo, ang wholesale price should be 230 to 235 pesos per kilo.
Okay.
Thank you po. Thank you.
Thank you. Maureen, may tanong ka? Please go ahead. Maureen?
Yes.
Pabukas na rin ng video, please. All right. Okay, unmute lang. Maureen, go ahead.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me po?
Go ahead.
Yes, Mau.
Ayan.
Yes.
Sir, just a question for DA, sir. Why the need to further hike MAV when the DA is already pushing for lower tariffs for both in quota and out quota, and this is already with the tariff commission po? Meron na po bang study yung DA on the foregone revenues on the side of government on this, sir? Thank you po.
Thank you, Mau. So, kasi ang within yung sa MAP, 30%, ang 54,000, tapos outside MAP is 40,000. But then again, kulang pa eh. So, kailangan talaga i-satisfy yung demand na we're looking at a 400,000 deficit for this year, for the entire year. In fact, so sa amin, 400,000 lang. No? 388 to be exact. So again, nasa tariff commission po yun. Yun ang recommendation namin to increase that at babaan yung tariff. So may consultations na on that. So tapos sabi nga nila, dapat across the board na lang para two-tiered tariff. Dapat isa na lang. So yun po, we're looking at that favorable decision. What we're saying is additional imports are welcome kasi to stabilize supply.
Okay. Meron pa?
So,
All right.
So, sir,
James? Yeah, okay. Go ahead. Yes, please.
Si James na lang
Sorry?
po muna.
Okay, James.
Yes, follow-up sir dun sa question ni Mau, Congressman Stella Kimbo, a former commissioner of the Philippine Competition Commission, said na yung pagbaba ng tariff and pag-hike ng MAV is a solution din sa pag-address doon sa technical smuggling ng pork. Do you agree with this?
Sasagot natin yan on the side of customs, no? Probably Mr. Jess Cham can answer that. Yung again, binabato lagi sa importers yung technical smuggling kasi sila nag-ano hindi ba? Sa amin naman, sa DA naman, all we want is that yung meat processors, yung demand nila, yung need nila is addressed. And then dito naman sa consumers, for ma-address din yung supply situation para again, dapat masaya lahat ang players, ang consumers, para tama ang presyo. Di ba, Melo? At same time, may hotdog, may meatloaf, may ham. Mga ganong klase.
Alam mo, naging nostalgic ako sa sinabi mo, Noel, dahilan sa nung ako'y little boy, pag namamalengke kami sa Pasay, sasabihin ng nanay ko noon, pabili nga ng 2 guhit na kaming baboy. Guhit lang ang usapan. Hindi kilo.
Tama.
Ganun kaming karaniwan pa. No? Kaya,
ako lumaki ako sa Murphy. Lumaki kami sa Murphy. Pag guhit-guhit lang yun. Sa 15th Avenue, may palengke doon. Hindi kilo-kilo ang binibili ng nanay ko. Guhit, tama.
Guhit lang.
Yes.
Guhit
100
lang.
grams,
Pero,
200 grams. Guhit, baka hindi alam ng millennials, isang guhit is 100 grams.
Oo. Pero nung araw pa, meron na ring plastic gang. Yung plastic gang, yung para kay Kabo.
Para kay taga. Ang tawag namin doon, kay taga.
Yan. Okay.
Anyway,
sagutin mo na naman.
Can answer that. Yung technical smuggling. Mr. Jess?
Please.
Yes, well, you know, ito pong meat importation is highly regulated. And in fact, if you ask the importers kami po, we say it is over-regulated. Lahat po mga legal imports come with what we call an international health certificate. The international health certificate tells you where it came from, which country it came from, at ano ang laman ng container. Now, this international health certificate is issued by the government of the exporting country. Okay? So, lahat ng mga importasyon po natin ay technically and legally has been pre-inspected and certified by the government of the exporting country. Now, you know, ang association po namin was formed in 1993 and we have been engaged in this importation since 1996. Ano? From 2000, during the time of Secretary Angara, all the meat should be inspected 100%. So they are inspecting 100% of the meat from 2000 up to now, 21 years, 20 years, okay? So I think maybe 10 years ago, I said to the DA director, si Minda, I said, look, Minda, I actually sent her an official letter. And I said, Minda, you have been inspecting these containers for the past 10, 15 years. Please tell me how many instances of technical smuggling have you discovered? I don't get any reply.
Baka hindi pa tapos yung kanilang inspection.
Pardon?
Baka hindi pa tapos yung inspection, kaya wala sagot.
No, ang meron nga ang Philippine, nung panahon ni GMA, may PASG, Philippine Anti-Smuggling Group. Ang mga hog racers, meron silang binabantayan nila. Ang hog racer mismo na kami sa akin, just hanap kami ng hanap, wala kaming makita. Why? Because you are parking up the wrong tree. You are not looking at the right places because etong mga importation ay legal. They are documented. Alam ng imported, they will be inspected. Kung sino bang loko-loko na gumagawa ng kalokohan? Now, if you reduce the tariff, what is the effect? The effect is it will eliminate outright smuggling ng mga undocumented na walang dokumento. Okay? If you reduce the tariff, then you take out one problem, yung mga undocumented imports from the countries that are approved origins. We say approved origins. But it may not necessarily remove the influx of smuggled items from the disapproved origins. For example, we have countries like China, hindi bawal although at this time, mas mahal ang baboy nila. So siguro wala nag-smuggle ng baboy papunta sa atin. Baka meron mga galunggong na pumapasok because these are undocumented imports. So if you reduce the tariff, you remove one aspect of the, you can eliminate to a good extent one problem. But of course, then there are other problems. So kami naman, we have already said to customs and to the hog racers and to the DA, we are very regulated. You can audit us every now and then, but don't waste too much time on us because you're not going to find anything. It's been 25 years. It's been 25 years. You've hardly found anything. I can say to Melo, I suspect you are a thief. So I'm going to put a guard in front of your house every day to look after you. And after 25 years, the guard says, I haven't found anything. I said, yeah, but I still believe Melo is a thief, but I don't know how he's doing it. Pero ay babantay ko pa rin kita. I mean, things like that. These are ridiculous, and we should move away from that.
Okay. Ang problema kasi kung mayroong mga tao na tingin laging araw-araw Paskong lagi, ganon. Christmas is every day,
Well,
araw-araw minimamasko.
Well, right? If you remove the tariff, then there is one less avenue of graft. Then we have to have the other regulatory hurdles, mga permits, mga clearances, etc. Then we tackle that in another fashion. But at least take away one problem.
Yeah.
Melo.
Yes, Vic. I know you'd like to react dahil may tatanong din tayo si James.
Doon lang sa importation. Hopefully naman if the Tariff Commission will decide on a lower yung savings sa taripa in terms of the retail price. Kasi ngayon, magkakaroon ng dalawang classification, imported and local. So anong price ceiling ng local? Alam na natin, 270 and 300. Yung imported, kung magkaroon ng favorable decision ang Tariff Commission, either to lower or remove the tariff, siyempre, debate pa yan. Yung savings naman sa taxes, kailangan ipinapasa sa consumer. Yun lang naman na importante dyan baka naman mangyari niyan, magkalituhan, whether you buy local o you buy imported, pareho lang ang babayaran mo.
Aha.
Alam mo, ang tagal nang naagabyado consumer dyan sa presyo ng karne na yan So, mabuti naman, this time, ang regulator, kumikilos na. Marami silang mga strategy to ensure na within this 60-day period ng Executive Order 124, magiging stable na yung presyo at the price ceiling na dinikta nila.
Vic, what you're saying is may mga nasa regulatory commission sa Pilipinas na laging Tia Deli at Kuya Cesar mode. Ganon. Ibig mo sabihin, napakabagal. No? So,
hindi lang bagal. Alam mo, mabagal at least gumagalaw. Yung hindi nagawa ng trabaho, it's worse.
Okay.
In fact, alam mo, Melo, this is lesson learned sana. Ewan ko kung natatandaan ng mga nakapwesto ngayon. Yung case ng bawang, yung mabot ng 1,000 pesos. Graph. Ang form ng graph is you did not do your job. It caused prejudice to the public. Corruption yun. Nasa Sandigang Bayan sila ngayon. Hopefully, dito sa ginagawa investigasyon ng Economic Task Force, isama din nila yung regulator. Meron ba silang accountability din sa nangyayari ito? Tayo mo wala lumabas na PSA statistics
1 million lang. Why don't we support yung PCC more in going after these cartels na nagmamanipulate ng price and supply?
Okay.
So ano po talaga yung main legal avenue na ginagamit natin? Is it the Price Act? Kasi parang itapis na mas maliit ang penalty na pinipurso natin rather than the PCA which is 100 million for first offense.
Okay.
Pwede ko bang sagutin, Melo? Opinion?
Sige. Okay.
Kasi James, ganito yun. Kapag ang competition act ang ginamit mo, ang burden of proof mo nagkaroon ng sabuatan, anti-competitive activities. So, wala kasi sa Competition Act na profiteering Nandun sa Price Act yun. Depende na yan sa resulta ng investigation. Whether
Sir,
the facts gathered will be adequate and sufficient to establish a cause of action for cartel or profiteering. Pag naka-establish sila ng James ng cause of action for cartel, sigurado yun, nandun ang DOJ. Pero gamitin niya Competition Act. Sigurado yun. Pero kung nakita lang niya profiteering, baka sa Price Act nila iabla.
Okay. So sir, would you propose din na magkaroon tayo ng determination of what type of cases before we push through dun sa filing of or magkaroon ng adjudication?
I'm sure having been in government before, pag ganyan mga task force, I'm sure yan ang unang pinag-usapan i-define mo yung terms of preference ng anong gagawin mo. I'm sure they're already on that. Classify na nila. And nilista na yan. Price Act, Competition Law. Andun na yan, I'm sure they're doing. Baka pati revised criminal code. Meron din doon I'm sure they're doing that. Pero sinagot ko lang yung as a reaction dun sa question ka mo ni Congressman Stella. Kasi yun yung ang lalabasan.
Ang pork holiday.
Sana nakikinig sa iyo.
Diba, sir, that's a cartel. You suspend the supply to force the prices up.
Yan. Tama.
ma-front load din yung isda natin. Kasi alam mo ngayon, ang tilapia natin, ang trend is 120. In the next month, going down yan to 110. And so if you compare pork with fish, siguro parang 3 kilo, 1 kilong baboy. So, and then bangos, the trend is going down also. 170 ngayon yung average prices, pero may makukuha kang 130, 140. So again, something, kasi pare-pareho lang boss ang protein eh. Pare-pareho yung formula niyan eh. Pare-pareho yung nutrient content. So siguro kung medyo mahirap sa pork at hindi available yung supply, baka pwede sa fish. Yun siguro yung aking
Babalikan ko si Noel. Noel, gumalaw din yung presyo ng isda. Ano yun? Law of supply and demand? O ano ba? Baka naman may smuggling din nangyayari sa isda.
Yun po, nakakapagtaka, no? Pumasok na yung mga imports ng galunggong and yet, again, yan naman, mataas pa rin ang presyo. Ibig sabihin, may nakikinabang. Diba? Ang baba ng presyo ng galunggong sa, sa imported eh. Dapat yan, may saya nila sa 150 below. At bakit may 200? So again, bago ko makalimutan, no? So mag-ano tayo niyan? Mag-unload at sasabihin natin sa mga importers. Ito, bago tayo matapos, tama yung sinabi ni Asis Perez, no? Attorney Perez, na magkaroon talaga ng shift. Kung gusto natin proteina, maraming sources ng proteina. Okay? May meat protein, may fish protein, may vegetable protein. Ang pinakamura sa lahat, itlog. Okay? And then, of course, milk. But then again, babalik na naman ako. Kung meat protein sources, matagal na yung model na fresh meat. Diba? Sabi nga ni Just Champ, hindi na umangat ang business model ng ating mga kaibigan. Dapat yan, mag-invest na sila sa cold storage and also will help them promote yung quality ng fresh frozen, di ba? Nasanay na yung mga tao ngayon sa frozen chicken. Will do the same for pork. Okay? So, ganon po. Kailangan may mag-shift. Kailangan talaga mag-elevate ng para kontrolado natin kontrolado yung supply and prices para itong mga peaks and valleys ng presyo, ng supply ay maiwasan natin sa mga susunod pang taon.
Okay, all right. I'd like to thank everyone who took time out to be with us, but I have to request you to give us short messages, concluding statements on what can we expect in the near future. Let's start with our good friend, Jess Cham. Anong aasahan ng tao sa inyong sektor? Please.
Well, we hope the Tariff Commission will pass the resolution to reduce the tariff for 5 years, and they should do it very quickly so that yung mga parating na baboy na containers na parating na makakaabot sa mababang taripa. In this manner, we can pass the savings immediately to the consumers. Ngayon, kapag madili-dili naman yan, syempre, extend lang natin ang hard times. But still, having said that, the next 2 months will still be a bit tough on the consumers because most of the product that were ordered early this year will probably arrive end of March or early April. So yun po ang nakikita namin ng timetable. So in the meantime, if you know where to buy, there are still imported pork that are sold at below the SRP. Konting tiyaga na lang. So hopefully, if the Tariff Commission comes through by April, the supply should be more bountiful, and the landed cost will be better, and then the competition among the importers, among the wholesalers, it will kick in by itself. As long as the market access is provided, it will trickle down to the consumers. And of course, as I said, we will try to manage the value chain so that we have the interventions so that the consumer will have options to buy. We can designate certain marketplaces, certain stores where they will be able to buy pork at below the SRP or at SRP level.
Okay. Vic, you're still there, Vic? Attorney Vic Di Magiba, please. Yes. Message.
Okay.
Paki-unmute yan.
Maraming salamat ulit. Pagka the past 3 days have been very, very, what do you call it? First time, Melo, for the past 10 years that government had used the price ceiling option providing the price up. No. Hindi naman yan gagawin ng gobyerno kung walang basis, no? 400 and 450 kilo. You see too much. Sa mga consumers, meron tayong tinatawag na karapatan or right access to reasonable prices of basic necessities. When it is so high already, indirectly, Melo, you are denying the consumer access to that basic necessity. So, as I said, even before the price ceiling was issued, I have advocated, I called on consumers to, kung makakaiwas naman tayo, wag muna tayong bumili ng baboy. And when the price ceiling was issued, we said that if prices go down to that level, wag naman on the 60th day of the executive order, maybe towards the week, mag-stabilize na doon. Then I think consumers can feel happy to go back and buy. Pero wag muna tayong sabi nga sa Tagalog, wag muna tayong magsalita ng tapos, di ba? At baka makapos, no? Anyway, so but we support the EO and para nandiyan pa naman si ASEC, mo despite all the negative, ang daming binato kay Secretary, no? Pero I admired him, for 2 days, Melo. Siya lang ang nandun sa Kongreso, sa Senado, for 3 to 4 hours. Siya lahat ang sumagot ng tanong. Walang ASEC Noel doon sa pandinig na yun. Secretary William Darma, I admired him, because head of agency, nandun siya talaga. He absorbed all the questions, from the hog raiser, from the senators, akong dami. And we have be thankful that he was firm. Sabi niya, hindi ako magre-resign. And he should not kasi kailangan niyang i-implement yung EU 124 na pinapirma niya sa presidente. Again, thank you and belated happy birthday. Hello.
Thank you. Salamat po. Dr. Morales, please. Dr. Morales. Please.
Yes, sir. Sa part po ng Department of Agriculture ng Bureau of Animal Industry, ginagawa po namin ng lahat ng magagawa at we're bringing all the possible help, para po ma-address natin yung threat ng at saka po yung problema na dala nitong African swine fever. So kagaya po ng nasabi ni ASEC Noel kanina, ang isa po sa mga strategy ng Department of Agriculture ay yung pong commodity diversification. So yung other source of protein po pwede pong tingnan ng ating mga consumers at while we're trying to stabilize the prices of pork. At nagpapasalamat po ako kay Attorney Di Magiba sa pagbanggit niya na ito naman pong ginagawa ng government, particularly in the Department of Agriculture, doon sa price ceiling ay may dahilan. At yun nga po, the Department of Agriculture is trying to balance we're trying to balance yun pong yung pangangailangan ng ating consumers, yung pong accessibility, affordability ng pork, and at the same time andun pa rin po yung pagtulong doon sa ating mga magsasaka, sa hog raisers, para po makabangon. So binabalanse po ng gobyerno yan at bagaman may ibang thought po doon sa area na yon, makakaasa po kayo na ang Department of Agriculture, ang Bureau of Animal Industry we are here po para doon sa ating mga farmers, sa ating mga hog raisers, and we are doing everything we can para masugpo itong African swine fever. And with that, nakikiusap po kami sa lahat ng hog raisers, makipagtulungan po tayo sa gobyerno. Kasi po pag hindi tayo nakipagtulungan, pakita nyo po nung araw, simple lang yung request. Huwag lang magpakain ng swill. Huwag lang magbenta ng may sakit na hayop. And medyo maliit po yung pagtingin natin. Ang habol natin ay makabawi ng konti yung ating puhunan. And look where it brought us. Hindi po tayo naninisi, pero ang sinasabi po natin, ganun po kalaki, ganun po katotoo ang threat ng ASF. Kaya po, pagtulong-tulungan po natin dahil po pag hindi tayo magtulong-tulong, hindi po natin ito kakayanin talaga. Magandang umaga po.
Asek Noel, please, for your message.
Yes, thank you again, Melo, for this opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Jess Cham, Director Morales, Yusek Vic Dimagiba, at sa ating si Director Asis.
Yeah.
Sa ating mga kasama sa media. Again, napakaganda ng binitawan kanina ni too much. Kung baga ako, that's too much. Yung too much natin, temper natin. We moderate the greed. Yun po ang
I heard that again.
Nalatay. Siyempre naman, kung talagang we moderate the greed, bumababa ang presyo. Di ba? Tama lamang. And then, balancing act. Consumers din po ang mga producers. Ang mga magsasaka, hog raisers, lahat, consumers din yan. Kaya dapat, at the end of the day, bibili din niya ng karne, bibili din niya ng isda, ng gulay, para lahat makinabang, di ba? So again, diet diversification. Marami pong pagpipilian para po, depende po sa ating pera sa bulsa. Yan po. Ang ASF, susumpuin po natin, tulong-tulong laman. At again, repopulation. To revive the industry, mag-repopulate po. So yan po ang ginagawa ng gobyerno. And again, thank you, Vic Dimagiba, Attorney. Paparating natin kay Secretary William Dar yung sinabi mo. Nakakataba ng puso. So again, Melo, maraming salamat po. Daghang salamat, mabalos.
Thank you. Alam po ninyo mga kaibigan, mayroong isang babaeng nagsabi, when a person dies of hunger, it has not happened because God did not take care of him or her. It has happened because neither you nor I wanted to give that person what he or she needed. Mula po yan sa isang nangangalang Mother Teresa, na isang santa ngayon. Sabi naman ng isang Bombay, si Mahatma Gandhi, poverty is the worst form of violence. Alam po ninyo, sa krisis na ganito, dito tayo kailangan magsama-sama, suriin natin, ano ba yung datos? Ano ang pwedeng gawin? Ano ang kakayahin ng taong bayan? Ang sabi nga nung araw, nung matatanda, tinagalan nga yung bayoneta ng Hapong may kalawang ito pa kaya? No. Anyway, nung bata ako, sabi ko, bibilhin ko yung pagkain yan. Gusto ko yan. Pero ngayong may edad na ako, sabi ng doktor, huwag ka nang kakain yan. So, pinakamagandang leksyon, sabi nga, ito. Kumain upang mabuhay. At huwag mabuhay upang kumain. Maraming salamat po. Magandang araw. Hanggang sa susunod. Thank you. God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ito ang Oragon Internet Television. Maaasahan sa Balance News in Public Affairs, Education, Music and Information gamit ang makabagong teknolohiya sa pamamahayag. Maaasahan sa katotohanan, kaagapay ng mamamayan sa pagkikipag-ugnayan sa pamahalaan. Oragon Internet Television Broadcasting.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now conclude another day of broadcasting activities. You have been watching to this virtual broadcast station Uragon Internet Television Broadcasting, a commercial non-stop virtual broadcast station through Facebook and YouTube. Registered with business name number 1909782 by the Department of Trade and Industry and authorizing to operate until July 2, 2025. Uragon Internet Television Broadcasting is now signing off.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, eras na silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang bihirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa manluluping, di ka pasisigil, sa nagatang tutok sa simuyan, sa langit mo pagaw, ay hinatang tula, kawin sa pagkayang nila.